The plan screen is where things begin in Muse. In fact, it's the very first screen you're brought to, whether you're creating a brand new site or opening up an existing site. It's a way to quickly build a sitemap of your web project, be it a wireframe schematic or the final website itself. And it's also the place where you organize the site hierarchy, adjusting the order of pages, whether there are child pages, things along those lines. Now, the plan screen is also integrated into the Muse menu widgets, making it easy to create and maintain website navigation as you adjust the size of your site. In this lesson, we'll explore the plan screen by working with an existing website wireframe. You'll see how the menu widgets are integrated with the plan screen, as well as how to work with master pages and some of the other features that are part of the plan screen. Okay, so right at the very top of the plan screen, just below our workflow views that we see above here, we have thumbnail, master badge, and size. Let's take a look at what each one of these do. The thumbnail option basically allows you to turn on or turn off the thumbnail images that are part of each of the screens inside the wireframe. Now, one of the main reasons you might want to turn things off is just for faster rendering more than anything else. Typically, I like to keep them on all the time because it helps me sort of focus on the content of each page. Now, the other option here is the master badge. Now, if you take a close look at our very first screen here, the home screen, take a look just below the word home when I turn off or disable this option. You can see I no longer know what master page is applied to each of the individual pages. Now, if you only have one master page, that's probably not a big deal. But if you have multiple master pages and you're changing them up throughout your site design, then you may want to keep that master badge option turned on at all times. And the last little option here is a slider, basically for zooming in and zooming out. Now, in this wireframe, it's pretty easy to pick out the basic structure or the basic layout of each page because there's not a lot of detail. It's just a bunch of boxes. But when you get into working with an actual website and there's imagery and text, sometimes you want to get a closer look at the contents of each one of the pages inside this plan screen. So I can work with this zoom option here to zoom in. And I can scroll up and down so I can see these things in a bit more detail. Now, I can also zoom out. Now, zooming out may come in really handy if you've got a lot of pages in your site design, your site hierarchy. Now, that's a really tiny representation here, but maybe we'll just go a little bit. There we go. So you've got the capability of seeing more or less of your overall site plan, which comes in really, really handy, especially if your site starts to become more complicated. Now, the master pages we see down below, I've got two here for this example. You'll notice that all of my pages currently, all 5 of them, are basically relying on the main wireframe master page. That's this guy right here. Now, you may have, depending on your design considerations, a need for different master pages for your site. And keep in mind that a master page essentially holds common elements for a series of pages, if not the entire site. So in this case, just for this exercise, I've created a secondary master page called main wireframe alternate, where I've basically flipped the header layout. So everything that was on the left is now on the right, and everything that was on the right is now on the left. And in order to apply this master page, this is a great little feature of Muse. This whole drag and drop concept comes into play. All I've got to do to change the master page for any of my main pages is literally just drag the master page on top of one of the pages in my plan screen. And when I let go of the mouse, you can see it updates just like that. I want to change it back, no problem. I can either press Control Z or Command Z, or I can just drag the other master page back on there and instantly updates. Very, very handy. Now, I want to show you one other thing. We were talking a little while ago about menu widgets, and they're all part of the main panels. Now, I want to show you one other thing. I was mentioning earlier about menu widgets. And if I zoom in a bit, let's take a look and show you what I mean here. You can see along on the left-hand side here, this is my menu for this website. And actually, these elements were added in the master page. Now, basically, what I've done is I've dragged and dropped a menu widget onto my master page. And here's the really cool thing about this. As I create or delete pages in my main site structure, that menu will update across the entire site. So I'm going to zoom back out a bit again, show you what I mean. All right, so I'm going to go over to the last page I have here, and all I need to do to create a brand new page literally is just click on the plus sign. If I do that, a brand new empty page with the master page, the default master page, is applied. Now, what's interesting about this is not only is that layout added in, but if you take a look, we now have another menu item. So I'll zoom in a bit again so we can see this in more detail. Scroll over, and actually you can see it in the master page too. But there's that new page, and you notice if you look really hard, it says Untitled, okay? Because that's the current name of that page. If I scroll down, see it's Untitled 6. So as I add pages or remove them from my main site hierarchy, the menu widget automatically updates and adds my navigation, which I think is pretty cool. Certainly saves you a lot of time and worry about having to add in additional navigation and so on. Now, I don't need that page, so let's take a look at what happens when we remove the page. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is keep an eye on the navigation areas of any of the pages currently on the plan screen. All right, and all I need to do to delete this page is literally go up to the little X icon in the upper right corner of the selected screen. Now, like I said, keep an eye on the navigation elements on any of the other pages on the plan screen, and watch what happens when I remove this page. Did you see how that entire site navigation updated? That's pretty cool. I don't have to worry about adding navigation. I don't even have to worry about removing navigation. It's all taken care of for me. Now, in the same line as this, what if I want to reorder the pages? Maybe I want to have the local wines page placed before the wineries page. Well, again, that drag and drop concept is alive and well here. I can just click and drag, and I can move it in between the two pages. And again, I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on the navigation structures when I let go of the mouse. If you were watching really carefully, you would have seen that there's been a change to the navigation order. So not only is this menu widget keeping track of how many pages I have, whether I'm adding or taking away pages, it's also altering the actual stacking order of my navigation based on the position of the different pages inside my sitemap here. So that's pretty cool. We've got quite a few things here that save us a lot of time and reduce a lot of the hassle of that maintenance side of building a site. As you're designing a site, especially in the beginning stages like a wireframe, you may be playing around a lot with positioning, what the order of the pages may be, adding pages, taking away pages, adding subpages, whatever it happens to be. Muse takes a lot of the pain out of that process. By using a menu widget, you're always able to keep track, or rather Muse is always able to keep track of just how many pages you have and what order they appear in within the navigation. So you can see why the plan screen is an integral part of the Muse workflow. It's where new pages get generated for your site, where navigation hierarchy is created, and it's also command central for creating and applying master pages. The plan screen makes it very easy to build the structure of your site and even alter that structure and flow after the page has been created.